We are live. Welcome. Oh, it's good to have a computer that's working. Thank God. I feel like I'm back in the real world. It's the Lynn and Scott and Friends show as we all see it. We're here every Tuesday night at 7. We want to thank our people who always come and watch, and certainly the people who always come and participate. Tonight we got Barry, we got Kellen, we got Rex, we got John, and of course, the wonderful Lynn, who is traveling today.
Oh, today's been an awesome day because I started out my day with Kellen, Theodora, and Debbie doing a pre-recorded show that will be on the end of this month. So Kellen, thank you for being here. She's barely slept and she just traveled. And
hello, everybody.
Hey,
Guys.
And she and I did a thing, and you won't be able to see.
You got them done. Yes.
they got diamonds in their teeth.
We got some gems. We got some sparkle.
Yeah.
Now you guys.
Where I come from, that means you joined a gang.
Or rat band.
The rest of us all got private piercings.
Give you Rex that private. Don't talk about them.
Yeah, you show first, Rex. We'll go right after you.
The lady that did our teeth does do piercings, but no, we didn't have enough time for that today.
Did they do it with the light?
Yes, they did it with the light.
It takes forever for it to dry.
It takes some just getting used to that it's there.
I'm not going to tell you where I got my piercing, but I am sitting on a donut pillow right now. So.
Okay, so
filled.
So does this have to do with our topic today? Daily routines that help you to succeed?
Hell no.
Well, donut could help some people succeed.
That's true. That's true.
Did you just say daily routines?
Yes, routines.
Yeah, routines.
Routines. Daily routines that help us succeed. Something I wanted to talk about. This is kind of like just, a lot of times we talk about things that we've learned in some of professional stuff and stuff that we do. Did they have to shave you, Scott? Yeah. That's awful personal, don't you think?
Well, it was personal for you.
They didn't shave me. They used Nair. All right. So anyway, certainly, I mean, there's things that I learned to do for myself on a daily basis that keeps me kind of like on track. And there's old habits that I had to get rid of and new habits I picked up that really are helpful for me to either be more energetic during the day, more positive, certainly more creative, and all those things that I need to be on a daily basis. And, I'll give you one example. I used to be the guy that would roll out of bed and leave his house, maybe just run through the shower on the way to the door to get out in my car, hair still wet, half asleep driving. And now I have a habit of no matter what time I have to leave my house, I am always awake and moving 2 hours before I leave. That gives me 2 hours, drink my coffee, check the news, listen to music, as music every morning is important to me, and do those things and never, ever rush to go out a door. When I get in the car now, I'm wide awake. My day's going. I feel good. But that was a daily routine I had to put in there. And then there's certain things I do throughout the morning too. But I was curious to see if you guys discovered things that were helpful to all of you in improving your life with daily routines that maybe you've newly developed or things that you found along your path. And not everything works for everybody, by the way. Not everything. Some people can do the wake up and go out the door thing. I just wasn't one of them. It doesn't mean that you're wrong if you do that. I'm just saying for me. And so everybody's got their own things.
And there's something real quick. I'm a big believer in manifestation, which I wasn't. I honestly thought it was a cult. I'm like, this is weird. I'm not doing it. And I went to this mortgage class, and it's called Ninja for Sales. It's real estate and it's mortgage. And bottom line is you wake up in the morning and you pick 3 goals. One might be getting out of bed. One might be making 10 sales calls. One might be driving home safely. And the last thing you think about at the end of the day before you go to sleep is how many goals did you hit? You're not going to be 100% all the time. Yeah. You might be 50%. You might be 75%. But when you start breaking that down, if you win, we talked about this before, 3 weeks out of the month, you won the month. 7 months out of the year, you won the year. So you keep these simple goals in your head, and once you start hitting them, you get more positive, and all of a sudden, and I'm like you, I can't jump out. I got to be up 2 hours early, man. I got to shower, I got to be fresh, I got to go. But if you're showered, fresh, and have your goals set for the day, and know you hit the ones the day before, what's going to stop you?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and it's funny because just as Kellen was talking today about some of the things that she does for goals and stuff. So I'm not sure if you're ready to share, Kellen, or not.
You know, I didn't have rituals or anything up until a year when I moved here to Georgia. It'll be 2 years in September. I was just like Scott. I'd wake up,
Yeah.
you know, but in here I do. I have a pug ritual because I have 3 pugs that I have to, you know, obviously feed them and, you know, take them outside. But I have a 100-year-old oak tree, and every morning, rain or shine. Oh, that's my book. Thank you. Rain or shine, I meditate, but I don't do like, you know, I do like my Kellen version because I have ADHD and it's very difficult for me to sit with myself. But over the past year, it's gotten a lot easier. So it's about 15 minutes where I just sit and I just exist. And that really grounds me for the day. I think that's the most important thing that I do every day. I got a couple things, but that's like the big one. Rain or shine. Like I sat out in the rain this morning, but I like the rain. So,
And you have a pool, and you started going into when the temperature was what?
I started, yeah. Well, I was cold plunging without knowing I was cold plunging. Like I did it before it was cool. But no, don't be all impressed because I wore my wetsuit.
Oh, okay.
You didn't have to tell them that.
No, I'm not gonna lie. It was cold.
Even with your wetsuit?
No, it was okay with the wetsuit.
Yeah.
I think it was like 60.
Like a
Because I
heated
started doing my laps in early May,
Wow.
late April. I opened up my pool and started. Yeah, it was cold. Couldn't feel my feet.
Boy, it's invigorating though, isn't it? It really kind of like it enlivens you.
It's a reset for your
Yep.
blah 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 neurology. You know what I'm saying, right? Spit
Yeah.
it. Somebody help me, please.
You're,
Well, you can say your neurobiology. You could say
Yeah, but
a
it
lot of different
resets
things.
you. Like you can
It does
go in
reset
there-
a lot of things. Yeah.
You can go in pissed off as hell, but when you get out, you're balanced. And
It does
You're-
the body good.
It does. It does. Absolutely. And you're way too freaking cold to be mad at anything anymore.
except I can't feel my feet.
It stimulates the vagus nerve and all sorts of different wonderful
I
things.
knew there was some science.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it promotes burning of the brown fat cells in your body and different things. And
Yeah, I knew there was some good to it.
There you go. So do you do the polar bear plunge there, Rex?
absolutely not. I've never done it. I've watched all these people do it and go, okay, idiots, you go ahead and jump on in the ice, you know, like in the middle of the January and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. I do cold shower, not always, but, you know, I do take cold
We
shower.
don't want to hear about that, Rex.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, for a variety of reasons, I take cold showers. No, but one of my habits is to sauna, and the way that you are supposed to properly sauna is to go, you know, jump in the snow and cool down and then come back. It's about raising your heartbeat, you know, and lowering it. And it's not about getting hot and sweating and staying as long as you can. So when I come out of the sauna, I will use a cold shower on my back, my head, you know, my whole body, but, you know, facing back and stuff like that. And then, you know, I sit for a while and then I go, you know, get dressed and everything. So it's a matter of, you know, cooling down but also, you know, you want the body to sweat after you come out of the sauna. So you don't want to just shut the whole system down. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of plunging into like, the ice, lake with, I mean, a lot of people plunge into ice and they get cut from the ice, you know, because, I mean, if you're in your pool, it's one thing, but it's, you know, but anything else you want to know about my
I think the visuals are plenty there, Rex. Thank you very much.
There's some.
Well,
we
I
can't
didn't supply the visuals. That's your corrupted imaginations. You know, I mean, that's not mine.
It's how you perceive things, right?
Huh? Yes,
That's how you perceive things.
yeah, indeed.
Hi,
I
Randy.
get, you know what helped me with the routine? I mean, I've been meditating, for most of my life and things like that. I've always been somebody who burns the candle where I go to bed late and wake up early. I've been attempting to get sleep, like instead of 2 hours a night to get, 6 or 7 or 8 hours of sleep. I still get up early in the morning, but one of the things that really helped all of that was when I had children and when I got divorced and then I was responsible for my children as a single dad. I would get up before them, at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. They would have to get up for school around 5:30 or 6, when they were little. And so I had to have them fed, and then get to school and then, pick them up from school. I mean, and I'm happy to say that, I never missed one of their activities. And I did this every day from the time they were like 6 and 2 until they were, graduating high school. So people think things are hard, but they're not hard. One, if you have to do it and it's important to you and you value it. So whatever it is, if it's really, if you have a purpose behind it, or you love, the people, or you love yourself, or you love what you're doing, it's not hard. And secondly, if it's hard at first, it gets easier after it becomes a habit. So you just keep with it. And then ultimately, you don't even think about it anymore. So today, I have dogs. So I get up, I do the same thing as if I had children. I get up, I take them out to the dog park or whatever, or occasionally now I have like Zooms or meetings and different things at different times during the day. So I have to maybe restructure depending on, where people are in the world when we're meeting and because I can't make all the Europeans, meet me at 3 a.m. So, so things get adjusted, but if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for a family member or your pet or something, but just do it. And I have all sorts of things like how I eat, my meditation, what I do for work and how I enjoy my leisure time and what I do for, my girl dogs and things like that are all part of a set daily routine. And I'm just going to say this. If you don't have a routine, that's your routine. So correct it and make it the one that works for you and serves you.
I love that.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, because adopting somebody else's routine, you're not going to have the same results somebody else has. You got to find things that work for you. I mean, simple things, like the cold water actually is something I developed as well. Is like after I love a hot shower, but right at the end of the hot shower, I turn off the hot water. I let the cold water hit me. I realize it refreshes me. Here in Florida, it gets so hot and sticky all the time. You can get out of the shower and start sweating profusely if you're not careful. So I shut down the pores and I do all that. And again, one more thing I do is I learned when I drive somewhere, if there's a song on the radio, when I get to my destination, I let the song finish before I get out of the car. It gives me a moment to stop and take a breath before I go do a group or speak or do whatever I'm going to do. It gives me that extra moment and it feels like you're not parking and rushing and getting out. I like to do those kind of things. These are just things that work for me, but Barry, what do you got for us, brother?
A few things. I mean, for me, and this is actually thanks to the lockdown and the pandemic, I didn't have a morning routine, sort of fit health-wise, like exercise-wise. But during the pandemic, I started going out and I wanted to go do something. And because in LA, you couldn't go very many places because it's all like closed off. The pit, the bypass is closed off, the beach was closed off. So I hiking up in the hills, and one of the parks was the state park, never closed. So it was always available to go walking around. And even with masks on, we do that. So that became something I do a few times a week. Then it became regular, and then it became every day. And now I've been doing it consistently every day for 3 years, where I go out in the morning, first thing in the morning, like when I get up and, obviously, wake up first, clean, I don't have a shower or anything, but basically just get refreshed, brush your teeth, and then get out and go to the hike before I have breakfast. And it's one, because it helps build my appetite. Two, it gets me oriented to the day, because I oftentimes will do something where I listen to an audiobook. I do like I won't say walking meditation, but I'm definitely keeping aware of what I'm doing. And that's really one thing works for me more than anything else. I don't do sitting meditations much anymore, because I do them occasionally, but they're not my favorite thing to do, kind of like what Kellen was saying. But I'll definitely do a like, I wouldn't say a walking meditation, like I think Lynn teaches, but it's something that is very like conscious action that's meant to keep me present. Because the biggest thing about meditation is getting present. And so doing it like that, that's my morning sort of setup. I do have weekly routines as well, but the daily one, that's probably my biggest one I do.
Awesome.
Lynn,
what about you?
Yeah, one of the things I like to do is always look at my calendar the day before, and set my intentions for the next day, and and put things on there that I do want to achieve, and I put it on a poster or a marker board, eraser, easy to erase, so that But it's just being mindful of when you look at a calendar and an appointment book with all the little dashes of the hours and stuff, and realize, this is what I'm doing, and having those clumps of, time freedom here and time freedom there, and finding places. For me, it helps too, being an introvert, that I know that I can give my all, but then, in an hour, I can be all quiet, or whatever. And so we were talking a little bit behind the scenes of Find It today about being an introvert and people not realizing that you just need your space to rejuvenize. But, for me, the calendar, there's Debbie. We love Debbie. The calendar is just really important to me because it allows me to make sure that I know I do have time to myself wherever I go or whatever I'm doing. Got to have that downtime and that space. So it just, taking one day at a time, taking moment at a time, and making the most of it is the big thing for me right now. After this whole little tour of little things I'm doing, I'm looking at some surgeries and some health things that I'm going to be more, hone into by then. So right now, to me, it's just, it's so important to just cherish the moments I have going forward. And then in August, I know what's going on there. So yeah, it takes things in your life to make you realize the value and the importance of things. You can't go running if you can't walk. You can't put the horse in front of the carriage. And it just the different things that when you realize that you have to reshift things, that's a blessing because it's shaking you from your regular routine, but it's still, everything can be done. There's so many inspirational people that have come forward that have no arms, no legs, and still do things. People that have had tragedy in their life and they've still managed to turn things around to be an example for us to appreciate and to have that gratitude for us to realize where we're at, because I think the last 2 years, honestly, if I'm honest, I've just been angry that I never had doctors that knew what was wrong with me. And so I'm at the later stages of things and I can't be mad. I just have to be glad. And I'm coming out of my shell to share some of the hard things so that other people can be acknowledged before they get in a situation that I'm in. So again, it's just to succeed in everything you do by just showing up and having that daily routine.
I like that.
That's really good. Can I add something to I forgot.
Please.
Yes, anytime.
Okay. Don't laugh, but a lot of people don't floss enough, right? So when since I drive, Lynn, I drive everywhere.
Yeah.
And so whenever I'm in my car, I have a routine where I floss my teeth.
There you go.
At my last dental checkup, they said my gums were on fire. Not literally.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a little thing, though. It's those little things, right?
Yes. Little things add up to big things.
Yes, but once you start getting those DWF tickets,
Look at
driving
Rex
off flossing.
Rex has his little flossy things out.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. There we go.
I do this after every time I eat. If I eat a small thing or whatever, I use this, and my teeth.
Are you kidding me?
I have mine upstairs, darn it.
Yeah.
Mine are in my car.
I keep them in the bedroom. I keep them in the car. I keep them wherever I am.
I got them over on a table about 10 feet from here. Mine are mint flavored too.
Mine are mint flavored too.
We're walking commercials through somebody's.
You guys are making me so
Lost
happy.
Look at Rex. He's been hacked. Hello, good people.
Yeah, 'cause I would never say that.
What? Hello, good people.
Hello, good people. Yeah, no, I mean, there's Randy and Lindsay and Debbie and Jean. I mean, so I'm saying hi,
Yes.
And who's ever watching who's not commenting, shame on you for remaining secret. But come on out. But
Don't be an introvert.
That's right. That's right.
Don't hide. Don't lurk in the dark.
My goodness.
Oh boy.
Well,
I mean, I this is cool stuff. I mean, just daily routines, and it's not like, again, this is so personal. I think everybody looks to everyone else to try to figure out what they need in their life, and I mean that's a tough thing. I mean, maybe we could mention that for a minute, because I mean, Rex, you got a lot of people looking to you because you got a great book, and you got these programs, and you got the knowledge, and in not only the knowledge, but the way you share what you know is kind. It's kind, and it's considerate of other people. Yeah, I know you're not an asshole. I'm sorry, you're just not. All right. So a lot of people follow you, but they're like, I want to be Rex, and then they try to do Rex stuff to be Rex. How do you tell people you can't be me? I want you to find what I found, but you got to find your own thing too, right?
You don't want to be me because you're too marvelous being who you are, even if you don't realize it, because you are infinite possibilities, you're infinite resources, you're infinite opportunity. You have shown up on the planet, and through whatever happenstance, experiences, conditioning, whatever, some of that is masked, but you don't want to be anyone else. You showed up to be you, and with all the foibles and all the talents and everything, you're incredible. And that's what you need to learn to accept. And when it comes to daily routines, I mean, now I'll do kind of a prescription thing, but the thing is always find some form of inspiration early in the day, whether it's reading or listening to inspirational audios or going to a service somewhere or hanging out with inspirational people, but do something where you feel uplifted and edified. And if you can, uplift and edify someone else, and then he said something really important, he said about getting present. Our thoughts go to the past and they go to the future. They go to regrets and they go to, worries or anxiety, but they're very rarely present. And some people sit to get present, and meditate. And some people walk to get present, meditate. Some people stare at a blank wall to get, but the idea is to get present. And one of the best things you can do is just go, where am I right now? And kind of take in where you are and understand that unless you're like dangling off of a cliff somewhere, you're probably very safe. And the difference between the worry or the regret is the safety of the present, which is what most of us miss most of the time. But the present is the only moment we have. And that future, wherever you are, because, we're chasing happiness, or we're chasing money, or we're chasing fame, or we're chasing family, or, romance, or whatever, will never happen except in the present. But we put it off for the future, so we keep missing the present, for chasing it for another time. But you can have it all right now if you realize who you are, and you take that moment to uplift, edify, and allow yourself full expression of who you are, and then somehow contribute to other people. Help them help you, and you help them, and the world becomes a nicer place. And so I think in terms of daily ritual, the idea of managing your thoughts and your emotions and your speech and your behaviors so that you can better fall into the present and release and let go of what goes on, and then move into your day is a great way to set your day. And again, at the end of your day, bookend it. Look at your wins. Be grateful for stuff. Don't sit there and go, crap, this happened and that happened, and relive your worst moments right before you go to bed. Relive the best moments before you go to bed, and sleep on those, and then wake and repeat, rinse and repeat kind of thing.
And I think you kind of nailed it on the head, Rex. And the one thing I've been doing, and I've told my team to do, or whatever to do, pay a compliment to somebody. Just pay a simple. I had a lady years ago walk up to me. I got off the train going to work, and she goes, "That is a beautiful sport coat." And I'm thinking, what the hell was that, man? I was floating on air for the rest of it. From that day forward, I've done that. I was out to lunch yesterday with a colleague, and I always do it, and again, it makes you feel good. And there were 3 service members having lunch. I said, "Here's $50. Put a credit on their account, but do not tell it. Don't tell them it was from me." You know what that did? They didn't know it was from me. My colleague said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I feel good about myself." For the rest of the day, I felt phenomenal. compliment 3 people a day, whether it's a quick message on Instagram or Facebook. Hey, great post. You're amazing. Thanks for being you. Number one, you mean it. You know it's true. And then you feel good. And when it comes back to you, bless you. When it comes back to you, I still can picture that lady's face. That's the last person that ever told me I look good, by the way. But when she told me, I can still remember exactly where I was at the train station in Union Station in Chicago getting off the train. But that has carried me on to do it. And whatever these people do, they go home and tell their husbands and wives, some weird dude told me I look good, or, you know, you're great, you love your energy. Yeah. And you do it 3 times a day, man, that carries on.
It doesn't always work, though, because I went into the hospital, and I went into a hospital, and I ended up sharing a room. I went in, it was the middle of the night. I was having a heart problem. I was scared, and they put me in a room with a gangbanger. And the first thing out of this guy's mouth was, "Yo, nice watch." I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep for 2 days. Just wide open, all guarded.
You know,
but I appreciated the compliment.
Well, at least you didn't say, "Wow, you got a great." At least what? Go ahead.
It depends on your location and situation and what compliments you want to give.
Yeah, it's
right. At least you didn't say, "I bet you got a great kidney."
Oh,
you
damn!
know,
I should have said that.
You know, next Wednesday on Find It, Kellen's going to be there, and she talks a lot about this and how she became the cards that go wow. And she's just, I won't go there so much to say that she inspires to inspire and help people and motivate people and help them, just like Rex was saying. But she also has this thing about reaching out to people and making them have an impact one way or another. So here's Kellen Ann. She's going to tell a quick little story about when she was just in UK. She got
my hat on.
Yes, go ahead. Put your hat on.
Oh my.
Okay, so tell the story real quick.
Okay.
With the accent and all.
No, I'm not going to do the accent because
Barry,
I don't want to be made fun of.
Don't worry, Barry.
No, I was walking around and I saw people looking at their phones and looking at the rocks. And I go, did you know they rotate these rocks every 5 years? And they went into this panic and they started looking at their phones. So I did it to a couple other groups of people. And then finally, when I made my way around, not the guards, what do they call? I guess the volunteers, they came up to me and they said, "Excuse me, are you the lady that's telling everybody we rotate these rocks every 5 years?" And I said, "Yes." "You're causing mayhem. Could you please stop?"
Oh my goodness.
We're going to have to ask you to leave.
They take their sedentary rocks seriously.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes.
And you know what Barry's response was in the back room about that? Go ahead, Barry. That was hilarious.
I just said it's like the reason they kicked you out is because it's not 5 years, it's every 4 years. There's a leap year in this song. That's the whole point. You got to reorient because of the calendar. Anyway,
crazy Americans don't know their facts.
Exactly. So something they're about accuracy, you know. So something I want to add to the conversation too, because a lot of things we're talking about so far are routines to start the day in a lot of ways. But one of the things I had done for a long time, because I learned the lesson and then teach other people this, is to listen to what we say, because most people don't. Particularly inside, but especially outside as well, because what we say to other people, like, you know, what John was saying was so cool, because you're intentionally saying something positive. Unfortunately, most people don't say things like that all the time. Oftentimes it's critical and negative, especially, in fact, more so to themselves than other people. So one of my recommendations, suggestions, promotions is listen to what you say, particularly what you say to yourself inside, because a lot of what we say to ourselves inside is what's limiting our ability to succeed. And, you know, it doesn't matter how many affirmations you do, doesn't matter how many, you know, things you do to make yourself think you're going to succeed. If the voice inside that's telling you things is louder and more negative, it ain't going to happen. Mm-hmm. So be more kind to yourself, be more loving with yourself, be more compassionate with the things that we tell ourselves. And one of the things I've learned as well is that when you tell us something negative, don't just go denial or fight with it or argue with it, is ask why it was saying it. Because I've learned along the way of a lot of my work I've done with my clients as well, is to navigate those voices we carry inside our heads that weren't even ours in the first place. Parents, peers, teachers, whatever. and we still carry on the negative self-talk. So when we start to go, you know what, that isn't me anymore, I can let that go.
Yeah.
It frees us up. So lots of little things that we do, and it's just simple stuff. Listen inside when we think something about what's going on, or something we say outside what's going on, and then course correct.
And you know, some people that are even complimentary are so complimentary, but when you give them a compliment, they reflect.
Oh, no, don't take that. Yeah. They repel. Yeah.
So if you give somebody a compliment and they return it back to you, maybe you should be mindful of how would you feel if your compliment to them was rejected.
Well, not only that.
Be nice to yourself at that
well,
time.
the other part of that also is some people also feel like they can't receive the compliment without saying something back. One of the biggest risks some people take is to let something in. And then you can give a compliment later, but don't let a lot of people will basically give a response right away, almost like saying, I've got to match you. I can't let you have the advantage of complimenting me, sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, let it in.
I deal with this a lot, and I realize half the time when I do get a compliment, I go quiet and I even forget to at least say thank you back. And I'm like, that's rude. So I'm trying to be better about that because I'm like,
I think it's just, Lynn, because people are so shocked they don't receive them. I mean, I've done it in the grocery store, but you want to watch that creepy level. You know,
Indeed.
can't go there.
especially when you get a certain age.
But there was some lady in the and she had such confidence. She was just she was oozing it. It was yesterday. I was in the wine aisle, so it might have been bad timing. But I said, "Hey, very happily married." That I pointed to my finger. I have no ring on, so that didn't go well either. But I said, just letting you know, happily married. You ooze confidence. Have a great afternoon. And her mouth opened, and I walked away. Didn't go to her. It was just. And she looked at me, and then she caught me afterwards, and she said, "Why did you tell me that?" I said, "Well, do me a favor. Do that to someone else. Do that, pass that on to someone else, some other mom in the store or something." But I think what you said, Lynn, is no one's used to it. They think there's a follow-up. I didn't want to compliment back, but to know that she's going to go home and tell her husband, some guy in the wine aisle with no wedding ring on told me I was awesome. I don't know where that was going. But the point is, if it put a skip in her step for a couple of hours or put her in a better mood, that's the only reason to do it.
Right.
I want to point to something Barry said for a minute and kind of connect it with what Rex was saying, because I think it's important, is that, you know, being careful about what you do and what you say throughout the day. And you have to be present to do that. I mean, there's many people, and I've been this myself, where you're kind of like just going through the motions. You don't even realize how you're acting towards others or what you're putting out there, the energy that you're expelling. You have to really be present to know that. And you know, you don't know the damage that you're doing to others. It's kind of triple coming back on you. Because I've always said you can't spew negative venom from a positive attitude. If I'm spewing negativity in any way, whether it's even just kind of that slight negative, not real aggressive, passive aggressive kind of attitude, it's still coming from something dark or something disturbed within me. It's not created outside of me. It's created within me. So if I'm having that stuff come out of me, I got to stop for a minute and say, where's that coming from? Why do I have to do that? Why am I so angry with this person? But you have to be present in all of that to recognize that throughout the day. You can't just autopilot through your life. Go ahead, Rex.
Yeah, well, I just want to address something, and that is Barry said, be careful of what you say to yourself, you know, which also means to other people. So
right.
I'm a huge fan or proponent of not labeling myself as anything. You know, when I would open workshops, I go, look, I'm a dad, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm this, I'm all these things, I wear all these hats. So who am I and what am I? It doesn't really matter. Okay.
Right.
I mean, because they're facets, okay? And then some people, so dark and stuff inside us may or may not be accurate either. It may be that what's inside you is a gift, or it's something that we've learned and it's coming out in order to be released. I was going to say before you said that, you know, a lot of people are driving down the road going, I am wonderful and the universe is great and everything is good and I love hey, asshole, stop that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, they get disrupted in their bliss. And the point is, that's a gift. That's not dark. That's not anything. That's a gift that's saying, look, there's something in you that has that response and it's come up now so you can notice it address it and let it go and do something different. And yet what most people will do is go, I suck, I'm stupid, I thought I was blissful, screw me, screw me, screw me. And then they just go right into negativity and feel, and then they don't release what they did in the first place.
Right.
Right.
Does that? Yes, I know. Debbie's a horribly angry, volatile driver who's taking wrath on everyone around her and just dripping and oozing with anger. I get it, Debbie. But no,
Yeah, she looks it, doesn't she?
But to say that, no, but I mean to say that is whether if she means it, but if I mean, it's really cool, be able to say, I do that. That's what happens to me. That's being open and honest and having the opportunity and the willingness to change. So I jest, but I mean, the thing is this is cool. So, but everything that comes up is a gift. So I'm very careful, to if I say I'm brilliant, I go, yeah, no, I'm not. If I go, I suck, I might go, yeah, I do. I mean, so the thing is to notice those things. This is, I think, what Barry was getting at. Notice those things, and then if I say I suck, go, well, not always, maybe sometimes, but not forever. Right. There are things that I do that aren't perfect yet. Yet is a great word. I don't know how to do that yet. Implies you will at some point. So it's not living with a label. I'm insecure. As people say, I'm insecure. Sometimes, are you always insecure? I mean, it's like people say, I haven't slept in 40 years. Well, that's bullshit. I've been depressed all my life. Well, that's bullshit too. What they do is they remember all the times they're depressed or haven't slept, and they forget all the times that they slept and weren't depressed. So it's getting real with ourselves and not buying our own
shit.
Yeah.
You said it, but I swear on this show, I may be the only one, but because there can only be one. But
right now,
well, we just stepped into Highlander. I don't know why.
But the point is be gentle, be loving, be kind, be accepting, and understand that these things come up. Somebody gives you a compliment and you feel bad instead of feeling good. Understand that's the moment to release. Not right. To hoard, but to release.
Right.
Right. And I really like what you're saying there, Rex. I really do. And I've got to be careful not to label those things inside of me that listen, I don't want to keep going into.
Let me interrupt you and say that Jung and Freud and all these people have done more damage in some ways than they've done good. I'm not a huge fan of the shadow side. I mean, I get what they're going for.
No, I get you. I get you. I get you. But I don't label those things as.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't label those things as being bad. I don't look at that as being that's a bad part. But I call it the dark parts. And here's why I call it that. Because it's the things I don't speak of. It's the things that I hide from myself. Childhood traumas or traumas from my adulthood. Traumas that or not even traumas, but just things that I hide away. I don't discuss. And I call them my dark parts. They are not bad. How can they be bad when I do finally let them out? They become my strength. So it's kind of funny that those pieces of me that are kind of hidden away in dark, that's why I call them kind of those dark areas. And negativity can come from those. But the minute I expose them to light, the minute I give them air, they start to change on me. And that's something that, again, a daily routine for me is to make sure I tell at least one person each day how I'm doing. Not sit down and give a book report, not sit down and give like some sort of testimonial about my day, but simply just check in with somebody that I care about once a day. Because I can get into a habit of going days and days and then turns into weeks without telling anybody how I feel. And it's a bad habit for somebody like me. I have to create that habit of making sure each day I just check in. If I'm having a bad day, I got my friend Gary, I give him a call and say, listen, you know what? Today sucks, man. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't. And by the time we're done with the phone call, we're laughing and it doesn't suck anymore. So doing those kind of things for me. But again, what I need for me is not what Rex needs or Barry needs or John needs or Kellen needs or Lynn needs. It's what I need. And I finding out what you need is where you're going to win. You got to find out what you need, what fulfills you. It can't be all the same thing. We'd be boring if we were all the same. We would be boring. I hope we would all have hair. That's all I'm saying.
And I think the reverse of that, Scott, and what I thought I made up, I was incorrect because one of you novelists came on here and told me you had thought of it first, is to do, you get on your phone book, on your phone, and you do a phone roulette. Whoever it lands on, I've been thinking about you, hope you're well. It could be someone you have not texted in years. I do that 10, 15 times a day. Some of the responses I've got, either I thought you were dead, how's everything, how's the family, how's things going? But you literally open up your contacts, man, and let it scroll, whoever it lands on. I've been thinking of you. You start a text with that, and the response is insane. And to do it 10, 15 times, you're done by 8 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't take you all day. But again, they may not get back to you, but the impression you've left on that person by 8 o'clock Chicago time, 7 o'clock California time, 9 o'clock New York, whatever time is, you're done, man. You hit 15 people with a positive message and hope they carry that out throughout the day.
You can do it faster if you do what I do. Make it a habit to only know 3 people at a time. It just makes it easier.
Well, you've blown that today.
I know. Look at this.
Right now, you're too many.
Too many.
Damn. Okay,
No, I'm not
I
quite as
didn't sound
ambitious.
like all of you. I love you guys, but that's a different story.
Great idea, John.
No, I'm not quite as ambitious with that. I have a gratitude Monday that I write a gratitude card to somebody every Monday. And this last Monday was my 20th year anniversary of doing it. So I've done 1,040 gratitude Mondays. And I do, it's kind of like scrolling through your phone book. I look for somebody, or if somebody's impacted my life in a positive way. Rarely do I send a note to somebody who's impacted me negatively. But so I handwrite a note and I sometimes I have to go through my phone and like do the little roulette thing and think, who am I going to send my note to this week? So
that's cool.
Love that.
That's cool.
Again, I plug it as much as I can. Find it next Wednesday. Kellen,
that was so fun. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And everybody's been on that show that's been in this page. So that's awesome.
I think sometimes people think that what I say doesn't matter. If we could talk about that for a second, because you guys are talking about like sending positive messages out and doing something or being kind or whatever it might be. And there's some people that might sit there and say, you know what? Nobody cares what I think. It doesn't matter to me. I'll tell you, Rex, after you watched the show with my daughter, that I'd sent you, then you watched it. You sent me a message in Messenger. It wasn't complicated. It was very nice. And it was very, it was very direct about how you felt about the show. And that meant so much to me that you would respond the way you did. And I appreciate you for that. I really do. But that moment is like, and you know what? I read that message in a moment when I was in between like 3 people trying to book one thing for the same date it was a mess. And I was just kind of like pulling my hair out. I'm like, you know what? Fucking, I'm not going to do anything this week. I'm not going to. And I read that message. It's just like, you know what? All right, never mind. Let's figure this shit out. Let's just be okay. So it does work. It does work. And everybody can contribute to somebody else with something positive from themselves. Even people that are in dark, bad places or who are struggling with something. That's one of the things we tell recovering people all the time. They're like, well, I've been clean for like a day. What am I going to tell people? Well, you know what? You're going to tell people that you're clean for a day. And that's like a miracle to some people. They need to hear that. We need to know that the struggles were, we need to hear from you. Everything means something. So, I mean, if we want to touch on that what you do does matter to other people, doesn't it?
It does. And I'm sure Sandy won't mind me saying this, but, I did start sharing my story about lipedema, and I met Sandy in person, and she's like, Lynn, I think I have it. And needless to say, she's recovering right now from surgery, and I'm very happy and proud. And I'm glad that she's not as far along as I am in the condition. But again, and there's been 5 other people. And so I know that sharing my story, is making a difference. And now it's inspiring me more to say, wait, you were pissed off for 2 years. How many people can you get to never get to the point where I'm at? So, it does help to share and know that you are impacting, I mean, lipedema isn't for you guys, maybe Kellen or so, you know what I mean? So, but you just really don't know what it entails, but it needs to be out there so that we all, and if it wasn't for other women being bold to share their story, I wouldn't have been inspired to share mine. So we all need that.
Keep sharing that. That's beautiful, Lynn. What it brought to mind was, these speakers, these inspirational speakers who have no arms or no legs, or they're, infirmed in some way. And I don't know whether anyone's ever done this or said this, and maybe I'm, borrowing a memory from somewhere, but people will look at these speakers and go, how can you be so happy? And the right response from the speaker would be, how could you not be?
Right.
Because I mean, the people who are looking at them going, look, they have no arms or legs, they have no eyes, they have no ears, they're paralyzed. How can they be happy? And they're looking at, full-bodied, full-able, whatever people going, and you're complaining about what?
Right.
Yeah. Well,
you know what? It's funny, Rex. I saw he was a one-legged Paralympic skier. He was a motivational speaker. And he came out and he almost addressed your point, Rex. He goes, I'm happy. He goes, you guys want to know what I do for shoes, don't you? And we're all like, son of a bitch, we did, but no one wanted to ask you this question. He had a left foot. He went on Facebook and found a guy with the exact same size shoe that had a right foot. And every time they bought shoes, they'd send the other shoe to the other guy.
So cool.
And we are dying. And he's like, I have more shoes than any of you motherfuckers in this room right now. And one of them's brand new, one of them's a little used, but you never know. It was absolutely, and he really turned it around going, I really thought the last thing I ever had to worry about was shoes. Right. But you get on social media, find a guy with an 11.5 right foot. I got 11.5 left foot. Guess what? I'm buying shoes. He's getting the other one. And it just, and I'll have to get you guys the name of this guy, Paralympic skier. Unbelievable story. But really, you walk in there with any problem in the world and what he's lived through from a child. But all we left with, we forgot what his ailment was. All we knew is he had shoes coming to his house like every 2 weeks.
It's like, don't feel far. Don't feel bad for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's such a beautiful story, John. And also the fact that, since if you don't have that issue, you don't think about it, Right. I mean, I would never have thought about it. What does a one-legged person do about buying shoes? I mean, that's not a problem that I've ever had.
Right.
I mean,
you find the other legged person with the same shoe size on Facebook, for Christ's sake.
Amazing. That's just really wonderful.
I love that.
I've got to say this, that I don't say this often, but I feel compelled to say, I'm glad that, I'm able to share my story for people to impact them and get checked out. And doctors are not very knowledgeable. That's the problem. Doctors aren't aware of the condition. They weren't trained to find this condition. And so, my biggest thing is I was married for 19 years to somebody that told me, as long as I look the way I do, nobody want me. And so the biggest thing is that don't let somebody in your life that's, impact you the wrong way, not to do what you feel like you need to do, and that's be visible. Sometimes we let ourselves be invisible because we don't think we matter, but that's bullshit. And I'm able to call bullshit on that now. And I do have a lot of loving, supporting friends that love me no matter what. And that's what you need. And don't stop until you find those people so that you can succeed in what you're doing. Because half of the time you would succeed if you had the right people in your life, not the wrong ones. So it can be that much difference in your life, speaking to the positive people. Get into mastermind groups, get into being in those groups that lift you up and elevate you. And Scott, you want to go around the room now?
Yeah, I think it is time. Hopefully our friend Scott Schilling is doing well. He's not here today. I just realized that. So
Two Hips.
Two Hips. I know you probably got some concert tour going on, finally picked up the whole rap thing. But well, you're getting diamonds on your teeth, and we got Two Hips, the rapper, on our show. What are we turning into here? Anyway, developing routines are good for many things. It creates dependability, and being dependable or being trustworthy isn't about what other people think about you. It's what you think about you. That if I develop routines that I stick to, that helps me so that when I decide to do something, I don't have to go in my mind like, am I really going to do it? I can start to believe and I can say, I want to do things. I'm not just joining a gym because I want to lose $30 a month. I'm joining a gym because I know I'm going to go, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And it makes you feel better about you. That's just for my opinion. But more importantly, routines are about creating positive attitudes, creating positive outcomes. Starting from a negative space and moving to a positive space is much more difficult than starting positive and staying positive. So I think it's important that people develop these things, find these things on your own. I'd love to have a go around once around the room and see what everybody else, how they want to wrap this show up. John, why don't we start with you, brother?
Well, I see the trees are blowing in my face, so this is very theatric what's happening here as I look in the window. We're actually in the process of moving, and my wife has about 150 boxes, so staying positive is not what's happening.
Is that a mattress behind you?
You know what? I kept moving around the house, but every time I move, she keeps moving furniture. So I locked the door. I'm like, you're out for an hour. Is she here?
I like how he says my wife has 150 boxes. I got shit in my pocket. That's all I got. Everything else is hers.
You know what? I got 48 cents, man. It's all yours. No, here's the deal. If we just, again, take tomorrow, if you go to the store tonight and you have not complimented someone, the feeling goes both ways, man. And again, get up, have your 3 goals for the day, make them little, win 3 weeks a month, win 7 months a year, you've won a year. It's just a mindset. It's all waking up. You know, Mel Robbins does that 3-2-1, and it's an awesome book. And it really is. You count down 3-2-1, hit that goal, get out of bed, do something else. And once you get in that habit, what is it, 6 to 8 weeks for a habit? But start by complimenting people. Man, you'll be on fire all day. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, we love you,
too, brother.
You, John.
You too. Barry.
I'm going to say it this way, because I was talking earlier about watch what you're thinking, is be kind to yourself. A lot of us, especially if we're sort of in leadership roles around the world, sometimes people start, we start to think we're going to get things done, make things happen. And when we don't do that 100%, we come up short. We mess up focusing on what we didn't do versus what we did do. So my thought about things you can do every day is do something kind for yourself. It could be that you take an extra 5 minutes in the shower. It could be that you treat yourself to a latte that you didn't have the other day. Do something kind for yourself and make it important enough so when you do it, you go to yourself, this is for me. Yeah. You start kind of like what John was saying, but this is a selfish act, literally. It's towards the self. But do something kind for yourself that's just simple things that remind you that you care about yourself, because sometimes we forget. So what I said still applies, but that little kindness that can make a difference too.
I love you, Barry. You're awesome. I need a copy of the new book so that everybody can go and get your new book.
It's on Amazon.
What's his new book? 51 Ways to Love Your Lover? What is the new book?
It's been reordered and refreshed for the 10th anniversary.
Oh, awesome. Love that. Good. Kellen.
I'm going to go with my gratitude, whether you're sharing it and writing a note to somebody that you appreciate or journaling something every day that you're grateful for.
And can you show your little pug?
My journal?
Yeah, she has a journal. You can find that on Amazon too.
So the first thing is today I am grateful.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
Today I am grateful for.
Oh, okay.
And then it says something I learned from my pup. And then I have a little tiny list of things to do because I am not an overachiever and I will not do more than 10 things in a day.
And she loves herself just that way.
Exactly.
I love you, Kellen.
I've learned to embrace it.
Thank you so much for being here. We love having
you.
We love having you here, Kellen. Thank you so much for making time for us.
You like my background better than last week because it was midnight in London last week.
No, I like it. It's you. It's you.
Yes.
And behind Rex is all the books he's written this week.
Yes.
That's not that far from accurate.
Yeah, he blogs. If you go to rexsikes.com, he blogs every day for the last 5 years, 7 years?
14.
14. Okay, I was right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go a little bit off on a rant, but everybody has added so much value and such wonderful insights. John and Barry and Kellen and Lynn and Scott. I like to quote the Bible, not because I believe or don't believe the Bible, but as an allegory. So, before it got politicized, and what people need to know is that, the dark stuff in the Bible, if you take it as an allegory, the dark stuff in the Bible is those parts of ourselves we're talking about that we resist or we fight. If we can think of it in those terms, it becomes this beautiful, beautiful story of not just redemption, in a spiritual sense, but redemption of reclaiming ourselves and coming back to who we truly are. And what most people don't understand is there are far, 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 far more promises in the Bible about abundance and love and prosperity and peace and kindness and all the good things than there are indictments on sin and this and that and the other thing. So it's a book that's filled with promises, but they very rarely is that emphasized. And of course, there's the peace that passes all understanding and the abundance beyond, all measure and all that kind of stuff. But the greatest commandment is to love God with your whole heart, soul, and mind, and then love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, some would argue that, God is separate from you. Others would argue that you are God. But think of it this way. If you're loving God or infinite intelligence or whatever it is with your whole heart and mind, and you're loving your neighbor, then you have to love as yourself. And so how do you love yourself? Well, as God loves you. In other words, you need to understand how valuable you truly are. So when it comes to these routines, these patterns, or these habits that we have or don't have, they either serve you or they don't serve you to allow you to uplift and edify yourself or to accomplish the goals, the dreams, or, the wants and desires that you have. So if you're not getting what you want, you need to have new patterns or new behaviors or new routines or new habits. And it's far easier to do it a little bit at a time, like how you eat your meals, instead of shoving the whole, meal in your mouth all at once and swallowing it whole. You take it bite by bite. And so it may take you longer to get through the meal than to shove it in your face, but you'll enjoy it much, much more. So do the little things that you can do on a daily basis. Who cares if it takes, 3 days or 3 years or 30 years? If you're having fun doing it and you're benefiting from the process and you continue to do it, you'll find and discover so many incredible things about yourself and others and the world that you have yet to notice because you're not noticing. You're paying attention to something else. So it's an opportunity for us to awaken and to love others and to really just to give. So I love what everybody said, and gratitude, and the expression of kindness and love and compliments to all, and that kind of recognition is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love this. I love that wag more.
I know.
And that sucks. Scott wasn't here. What now?
Wow, he's not here. He gets book promoted. That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's good for him. Yeah, but he's a staple around here. Why not?
No book yet, but I got new paintings behind me, so
Yes.
I'm rocking and rolling there.
Painter.
Yes,
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm going to start incorporating a few words into my paintings, and I think that'll lead me towards a book. Oh yeah, there we go. Different paintings. There we go.
That's amazing.
We're launching Sober Life Art very soon in July. There's going to be a gallery is focusing or they're giving me an exhibit, and they're going to have music and food, and they're going to invite all this. So I'm going to have my artist launch party at the end of July. So I'm really excited.
Is that going to be in Florida?
It's in Florida. Yeah.
I'm driving. I'm going.
Hey, come on down. Yeah. I got extra room. Stay with me. I'm that guy. Lynn will tell you. I'm that guy. My house
I'm
is
the
open
girl
to
that
everybody.
drives 700
That's right.
feet or 700.
Well, come on down come down and get.
Where do you live? Where do you live? Near Atlanta?
Just northeast of it.
Oh, okay. I got a sister in Atlanta, I think.
I go to Florida like 4 times a year. So
there you go. Kellen will need to.
You got a place to stay whenever you want.
That's right.
All right, listen up. I want to thank everybody for joining in. This is important. One of the things I always remember is at the beginning and the end of all things, it's mine. It's my responsibility, whether I'm going to attack it with positivity, with love, with grace, or I'm going to attack it with anger and fervor and panic and all those things. It's still up to me. And every day I start my day with the idea, this is my day. What am I going to make it? And I put things in place to create a positive setting for myself. I hope everybody can find a way to do that for yourselves. And again, you can ask others, but you really, to find your real answer, you got to find out what lights you up. And once you find out what lights you up, nobody else can put it out. God bless everybody. I love you guys all. Fantastic. Lynn, on the road, still pulling it off. You're the greatest, Lynn.
Love you. Love you
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Have a good one.
Love
Bye.
everybody.
Love you.
Keeping me safe and sound.